process, anything in the studio when it came to writing it? The album title, I think, as well, is obviously very catching to the listener as well.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. It just depends on how you want to look, like go about this question here, because man, it was like a 2 year process.
Yeah.
uh, I can tell you with the title, to answer that. I remember discussing with like Josh, like a one-on-one about this a little bit, where I wanted to maybe use the word survive, or like the idea, I guess, was survival stories, because that's like the overall concept of the record. Uh, from there, we were kind of playing around with different like phrasing of that, using survive. And I guess the idea is, like with I won't survive is, well, one, it's provoking. It doesn't sound right. It's not really an uplifting thing for, I guess, a Christian band to use. But it's it's a snapshot of like the mindset and like the peak of like the trauma and stress, I guess, of each of these stories, because that's what we try to highlight throughout the record, is a snapshot of that struggle, and just kind of explaining how like God and their circumstance all unraveled to, I guess, bring light and hope into their situation. So I won't survive is kind of like just the pit of each of those stories and their worst moments, I guess.
Amazing. So track one, "The Wall That Followed Me." I mean, the title track, the title of the track itself, pretty much says the story of what you were going for here, and if anyone's seen the video as well. Is there a specific story that you guys heard when writing this song?
Yeah, hopefully this weekend here we'll have a lyric explanation video up for you guys.
Amazing.
But it's a true story. Well, all the songs are true stories, but this song is a particularly stands out to me because we had met a fan of ours. His name is Corey, while on tour, and we passed through. It was Orlando, Florida, when we met him, and right away we just kind of hit it off. He's got a lot of energy. He's a really cool guy. But the more we got to know him, the more he kind of unraveled a bit and explained his a bit of his backstory and how he had dealt with, and I guess in a way still deals with, post-traumatic stress disorder from serving overseas in the military. So meeting somebody as cool and as excited on life as that, but also like hearing about what's going on in their head and in the background, it kind of caught us off guard, and we ended up staying in touch throughout the years. And then he ended up allowing us, I guess, when we approached him to write this song, was interview him, and we just ended up doing a lot of calls and FaceTimes, and having him open up, I guess, on how he's dealt with his PTSD, and yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, of course. So, anything you want to touch on lyrics? I mean, the chorus. I think as soon as I heard it, I was it smacked me right in the
Yeah.
in the kisser instantly. It was like such a. I mean, there's people already saying this song already means so much to me. So, yeah. I mean, the chorus itself, just musically, this is you guys, I think, on a whole nother level. What you can hit sonically on this album with the melodic choruses.
Thank you.
What part of the story that Corey told you did you look to hone in on the lyrics for this track?
Like with the chorus, it kind of centers around survivor's guilt, which, me personally, and I know with my bandmates, like we don't, everything that we know from PTSD and stuff like that is, like what we'd see in a movie, but you don't, at least from my experience, you don't really hear so much about survivor's guilt. So that kind of stuck out to us. And I feel like you don't hear about it a lot. And
yeah.
I think the picture that they paint, I don't know if it's society or, or whatever, but the picture that I've been painted and seen was, like heroic heroes and triumph, coming home from the war, but you don't hear about survivor's guilt. So that kind of stuck out to us. And I think that was kind of the core of that song, was just kind of highlighting that and how he handled that.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll start the album. This is track 1, The War That Followed Me Home, of I Won't Survive Deep Dive. Again, like last time when Mike was here, any questions for Mike, we'll ask him at the end of the track. This is The War That Followed Me Home.
I break through, I run away, take the wake of hysteria. It's happening again. I see your face in the place where I rest my head. While I sleep with my eyes wide open, I blame myself, I shame myself. Death from the front lines, showing up on my front doorstep. You'll never know the guilt I felt for surviving, or know the love and loss that's always on replay. I'm just a living casualty. I thought I loved the fight behind, back overseas, and maybe I denied a full recovery. I got MIA, you'll never find me. Can't escape the flashbacks. We attack, they shot back. The skies turn black, and I lost my breath. Taking some breath. I set aside my humanity. How can I feel when I've been tried for empathy? I put my life on the line and war cause. My first kill became the death of me. Death of me. You'll never know the guilt I felt for surviving, or know the love and loss that's always on replay. I'm just a living casualty. I thought I loved the fight behind, back overseas, and maybe I denied a full recovery. I got MIA. You'll never find me. Where'd you go from here? When the smoke clears and the bodies appear, no time for fear. The shackles found in air. My knees collapse, and I brace for the impact. The bloodshed that never ends, the echo that runs through my head. It's a war that followed me home. It's a war that followed me home. It's a war that followed me home. You'll never know the guilt I felt for surviving, or know the love and loss that's always on replay. I'm just a living casualty. I thought I loved the fight behind, back overseas, and maybe I denied a full recovery. I got MIA. You'll never find me.
Wow, what a statement for a first track of an album. Huge. Cadence asks, are you doing videos for each of the tracks? It would be really interesting to watch interviews about these incredible people.
Yeah, we've had that asked a few times. I did the Price of Grace for I mean, we just had a lot of people asking about it when we put that out. That was our single, and I think just like hearing all the stories and stuff, we just felt we needed to explain it a bit more. And then from there, we were just like, well, maybe we should do one for every song. And I know right now there's going to be one for this song, The War That Followed Me Home, and there's going to be one for Last Cell. Yeah, for Wreckage, I know with that one, it's a little bit more of like a private story.
Yeah.
And it's not, the person that was helping us write it. We don't know, at least I don't know right now, like how comfortable they are maybe with that.
Sure.
So
yeah, absolutely.
It could be a little tricky, but I know that we're definitely gonna do everything we can to try and share these stories beyond the songs. So yeah. I'd like to. It's we do want to respect our the people that helped us too. So it's a little bit of a tug and pull, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. We've also got a good question saying, what is Mike's favourite tour lineup, or what lineup would he love to have at a tour? So let's say if Conviction's dream tour lineup.
My answer is never going to change. It's always going to be Slipknot. I want to tour with them so bad.
That is a great answer, I think.
Yeah.
There's another one that I think the community always want me to ask when we do a deep dive, and the artwork for this album is so strikingly incredible. Number one, who did the art?
His name's Jim. I think his last name's Hughes. Jim Hughes.
Right.
He used to play in For Today, and he does.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great, and he does. He's done a lot of cool artwork lately with like Wage War, and I think that's kind of where we first noticed him. We're like, oh, like this is different, and maybe this will help us with our vision. So yeah, Jim Hughes.
Great. I do absolutely love it. I think an album especially that's so as personal as this, and the kind of music you write, I think the album art has to be as striking as you've got it. So amazing. So do you want to go on to Wreckage and what you feel comfortable you can tell us about it? With, if you want to go more on the writing process and the chorus, or breakdown, anything you want us to just touch base on, if you obviously don't want to go into the subject matter too much.
Yeah. With Wreckage, I guess it would tie nicely with the Price of Grace thematically, just dealing with like suicide and mental health. Well, I guess every song would be mental health, but we wrote this song from a perspective of a close family member who was struggling with his faith and will to live, and it was just kind of a deep dive into that. So thematically, it's kind of based around like a car crash, but overall, it's more or less about the contemplation with that, and I guess searching for his faith again, and that stuck out to us just because we've met so many people on the road, and we've all had our personal struggles and sometimes with faith. So that stuck out to us, and we've met a lot of people that have shared similar stories. So we felt this was really important to write about.
Again, I think it's such a statement from you guys, but for me that loves metalcore just like this album that you've made, to start the album with these first 3 tracks, well, let's say 4 tracks as well, they're all incredible, but it's like just a tornado. It's incredible. Yeah, let's play it. This is the incredible Wreckage.
you in a strike by surface. With the breaking breaks the surface. When I'm gone, when am I not conscious? I'm struggling to hear it's calling. I'm struggling to hear it's calling. I'm blinded on a midnight drive. I'm dying for your life. I'm in a head-on collision. Burn past all recognition. Breathing in broken dust. Taste the dirt, feeling blood. This reoccurring condition drives me to act over and over and over. I'm piling up the wreckage. Is this the only way to end it? I need a miracle. If you love as you say you love, then give me something that's tangible. If you say you're realizing the truth, it's not my head. Rip all the gun from my throat. Where is my soul? Reclaim this life or I swear I'll end myself. I'm in a head-on collision. Burn past all recognition. Breathing in broken dust. Taste the dirt, feeling blood. This reoccurring condition drives me to act over and over and over. I'm piling up the wreckage. Is this the only way to end it? I'm piling up the wreckage. Is this the only way to end it? I need a miracle.
I just honestly, I think that is up there for my track of the album. I think, but I don't know. Changes every time. One thing we did touch on when you were last here, before obviously it was only the little teaser for The Price of Grace that was out when you were last here, but you did allude to the fact that Josh used so many like cool guitar effects, and that was one thing that, like, going through the album for the first time, I was like, Mike was not lying. There is so many. The guitar on this is so cool.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time trying new pedals, and I don't even know. I don't play guitar.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't understand either, but it sounds good. It's perfect. Like Eris in the chat made one good point. In the breakdown, it kind of like the effect. It kind of descends down, and it's even like more fitting with the track, and like the ending. It's just amazing. So to the people that are in the stream that weren't here last time, do you want to just go over briefly? I know you have obviously spoken a lot about The Price of Grace, and obviously how huge it's been for you as well. This track has been incredible, hasn't it? The amount of playlists it's been added to, and it's got a lot of recognition, which we love to see.
Yeah, The Price of Grace was one of the last songs we actually recorded for making this record here. But it kind of took us off guard when we were putting it together. It was a story that I've been working on with a good friend of mine. His name's CJ, and I had been interviewing him for at least over a year now, throughout the beginning of 2020, early 2019. I know that not only did it strike me emotionally and on a deep level, but also people that we shared his story with on tour. So much so that we decided that we wanted to write about his story. So I don't know how much you want me to dive into that, or.
I mean, I know a lot of people were in the stream last time, and probably all of the songs. So just probably a quick brief description for the people that maybe weren't here the last time. I think it's obviously with the end section of the song, it's probably important for them just maybe to hear a little bit about it. Obviously, because I'm sure it'll strike them.
Yeah, to give that context. So I wrote the story. No, it's not a story. Forgive me. I'm trying to wake up here, and I don't want to do the song the wrong justice here. So the song is written from the perspective of our friend CJ. He's a fan of ours. He's been coming out to shows, I don't know, for the past maybe 5 years or so. Traveled all across the country. There's New York, Texas, Florida, South Carolina, like all over. And he was bringing a good friend of his named Travis. And Travis was new to metal. And he was just a super cool guy. And we ended up getting really close with these guys. And between tours, I think it was 2019, I got a call from CJ. And he told me that Travis took his life and how that affected him and how he was dealing with his grief. And yeah, we each had to get back on the road. We were like leaving for a tour, like, I don't know, like a week after I got that call. And so after we had heard that, we decided to share his story while doing our sets on one of our last tours here before the pandemic. And so many people were confronting us and telling us how that story affected them and how they have experienced similar things and events. So CJ was super cool and let me interview him and kind of ask him some questions. And he allowed us to write this song about him and for people that have gone through that. And the response has been overwhelming, to say the least. I mean, we've had so many people commenting and messaging and sharing their stories. It's bigger than us, really, at this point. I mean, it's not really about us anymore. You know, it's about that speaking out against, you know, suicide and spreading mental health awareness. And that's really important to us. So that's the price of grace, I guess.
Yep. Amazing. We just got, before we play it, we got a question saying, was the writing process in comparison to past records different? Production, everything as a whole just sounds bigger and heavier, or was it just with the content matter, just to add more of a driving force into relation, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it was definitely different. With our past material, a lot of it was written from like our personal perspectives and stories. And everything with this new record is written about other people. And I think the biggest obstacle and learning curve was just having empathy and allowing ourselves to step in someone else's shoes and to try and tell their stories accurately, respectfully, and I guess honor their story. So that was definitely the most challenging part. Like with this song, the next song you're going to hear, The Price of Grace, like that was really important. You know, like I want to make sure it's respectful, it's done right. You know, that we're not just writing it overnight. I can't tell you how many times I'd have like a night off of work and I'm like, okay, this is it. Like I got the whole night off. I can spend however much time and just knock this out. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, you can't do that. You know, like you really got to make sure you're saying everything you want. And that energy traveled into the studio. Typically when you go in the studio and you knock out a few songs, it's like over 3 days or so, you know, it's just like get in and get out. And with this record, it was like every song we had, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 days to record a song. And like the first 3 to 4 days were just spent on lyrics, which we've never really had that experience before. So we spent a lot of time on the lyrics, just making sure we're saying everything that, you know, we could to share these stories accurately and hopefully well. And yeah, production and everything, we're working with a new producer and he was very involved, which is great. And I think it was definitely just a breath of fresh air working in a new environment with new people. And this is with Daniel, our new bass player and singer. So everything just felt really fresh and we were hungry to reinvent ourselves in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything is, I don't know, a new chapter, I feel. So hopefully it's heard.
Yeah, obviously me and you have had lots of talks over especially when you were here on your UK tour. And and you know how much I love you guys, but I genuinely think this is, and how much I love your whole catalogue, but this for me is just, it's on a whole new level. You can tell it's it's a proper step up, and I think with that, here's The Price of Grace.
Spiraling around the room. This struggle, I'm in denial. Lost in the static of your silence. Lost in the static of your silence. They found the note you left behind in the lethal dose you took that night. We lost touch when the basement door was melted fruit. Deserve to survive!
Hey man, I know you may not ever get the chance to hear this, but just wanted to tell you that I love you. One last time. I've never felt so alone. I don't know why you did it. Didn't you just say something? Why didn't you just warn me? Can't even go back home, because you're not there anymore. You're my brother. I would have done anything for you. I miss you.
What happened to brothers forever? You said we'd grow old together. I'm reaching out to the heavens. Can you hear my voice? How can I live on knowing that this was your choice? I will carry your memory until the day that I die. To keep you alive.
Work of art, I agree. Absolutely, it's a masterpiece. I agree. I agree also. So just obviously musically, I know obviously the subject is obviously so touching, and again, everyone applauds you guys for being so incredible and giving the story and the subject matter proper justice. But it is a very heavy song, and I remember when it came out and it got added to the deathcore playlist, and that was I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then obviously my surprise when I listen to the album and Teeth comes on straight after, which is, would you arguably the heaviest Conviction song ever?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it depends on the listener, but
Yeah.
We that song, like, musically, that was the intent. I think was just like, how heavy can we get this? Being in context of the record, obviously. The Price of Grace was originally just going to be an all screaming song, or like our first one, where it's just screaming, and I think the way they structure the chorus and I think just like the overall sound of the song, we ended up deciding to do a chorus, and I'm really happy with it. But we ended up taking that idea and pushing it over to Teeth, and then Teeth just became an all screaming, just just as heavy as we can get this approach, I guess. But a little more of like a hardcore element, and with Teeth, it's more so a summary of the whole record, I'd say, with connecting all the stories through their suffering, and in a way, it's kind of like a community statement where it's like we're all in this together,
Yeah, great. Well, I think that's perfect description of it. Enjoy, everyone. This is a heavy one. This is Teeth.
Through our suffering, we are all connected. You're sending fire, surrender. One who fathom self-destruction. Deadly, spirit from flesh, and up the bastard souls. We light our anger, we're interceding. Through our suffering, we are all connected. Never rejected. This pit dragged me down further and further, staring through the roots in the ground, lower and lower. Can you hear the sound? There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Now that is a breakdown. That pits will pop off when this hits. I mean, I think that's an understatement. It might implode. Huge. That ending is like the timing and like just the amount of time left between each section. I just love it. So good.
I'm excited to play that live.
Yeah, definitely. So up next is obviously, if no convictions, this song again was, like we said last time, massive for you, which is Hurricane. And I know you've touched on it a lot. So just a brief description of how this song came to be and how it did kind of transform like your streaming numbers, didn't it? It was absolutely huge in that respect for you.
Yeah. I guess there's a lot to go into Hurricane because that was our first song with Andrew and with Daniel, our new vocalist. So it was I think putting that song together and writing it, finding out, discovering this new sound for us. It was it was kind of like one of those, forgive me here.
No worries.
I keep forgetting this is being filmed. So I'm like, a lot of I keep like looking off and like dazing when I'm like answering your questions, and that's probably really rude.
No, it's not at all.
It's just a black screen on my end. Sorry. With Hurricane, it was our first time recording with our new producer, and we were kind of just like figuring out what it's going to be, you know, like working with this new sound. And it was just this whole transitional period in our band, working with Daniel. And that was the first song that I started writing from new angles and storytelling and retelling other people's stories. That was the first one. So that was a kind of a monumental thing for me. And from there, that was kind of the seed that ended up turning into I Won't Survive. Conceptually, like writing and stuff, that would be probably the best answer I can give you, is just like it's the seed to the rest of the album. Yeah, subject wise, it fits right in. It's like a big mental health statement on handling grief and substance abuse. And yeah, I don't know. I hope that helps a little.
Amazing. Hurricane, everyone. Again, any questions? Get them in the chat.
Lost in this hurricane. I'll never find my way. I'll never find my way. My lungs collapse. I can tell I can't breathe. 16 years is not enough. Time will pass, but I feel your love. It's still inside me. Still inside me. Torrential rains have swept you up. You always told me I could trust. You're still beside me. Still beside me. Every dream is falling short, and the pills they never work. It's all the same.
Again, I saw another comment saying that so glad this got added. I was not expecting that, as I thought it was going to be a standalone single. Yeah. Obviously, I did a pre-order, and I honestly couldn't remember it being on the track list. So I was really, really excited to see it. I think it does definitely, like you said, with the topics and what you touch base on, and obviously the sound of it, it definitely deserves a place on the album for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's perfect.
So it is perfect. I agree, and so do a lot of people. We've also got one. This is honestly one of my favourite songs like ever. So there you go, Mike.
Thank you.
That is pretty much all you need to hear as a band creating music. So I think personally, Everything I Never Told You and Last Cell go together. Is that correct?
No, not necessarily. They weren't made to be like, tied together, I guess.
One thing when I listen to it, they just flow so nicely. So
yeah, I think for the track listing, like that makes sense, and I think it is a good. We wanted to put it in where the listener can take that rest, I guess, and kind of process everything that we've been bombarding them with. So I think it's like the perfect place. But I guess I was just kind of thinking more like tying in like note for note, like how some artists will do that. We didn't really plan that, I guess, with this one.
Yeah. Shall we play them back to front, or do you want to? I know it's obviously just a little, like you said, a little rest, and everyone can get a bit of solace from listening to it because it is really beautiful. Should we play both that and Last Cell together, or do you want to? Should we just play it and then we'll go into Last Cell afterwards?
Actually, I kind of want to ask you a question. I don't know if.
Cool. Yeah.
So, I'm trying to figure out how to ask you because I haven't really. I've only talked to one of my bandmates about this, but it was kind of an idea for our band that I was thinking. So, how would I guess like off the record? How would you feel as like as a Convictions fan if we were to do a like limited maybe like 3 or 4 songs of just songs like Everything I Never Told You, where it's not necessarily like a record or an EP that like we would be pushing like this is it, like it would be more like an extension of the band, and it would be more like music that maybe you would have on in the background. Or
I will tell you now, I would absolutely love that. You've seen a couple of bands do it, probably more notably Loathe did it with that. It was, they packaged it as a new album, but it was almost like 12 tracks of soundscape of what they created during that, and I would absolutely love, 3 or 4 tracks of just whatever, Convictions ambience or...
Yeah, like there's definitely more to it. Like I have ideas, and I need to pitch them to my band, and if I were to do this, there's obviously bits that I would like to keep a surprise in a way, but so I'm trying to like throw you a really basic idea, but like when we tour and we play live, we'll do sections of music where Josh will build a soundscape and I may speak, or Zach might tune his drums or something, but that's just kind of...
Yeah, I love it. I think that is personally for me, as obviously you guys you're one of my favorite bands ever. I think that would be great. I would love it. And do you know what's even perfect? I'll put this little segment now because I know it's going on YouTube as well at some point. Put in the comments what you think, so I can tell Mike, and Mike can see what do you think of that. Really cool. We've also got a few. Yes, I want that very much. So yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, I have. There'd be like more to it other than just like, oh, it's just sounds. Like there would be purpose behind it. But like it's something that we do live, like every tour, and we do it a lot. Like if you remove all of my like speeches and music, there's probably at least like 4 to 5 minutes of just Josh creating soundscapes for us that fill that, create that atmosphere. So it's a part of our band. And it's not really, it might only get explored like once on a record, like Serotonin or for this song, for example. And I was just thinking, like, what would it be like to sandbox in a way, like create this Convictions, expand the Convictions universe, and it'd be another element of our band. I guess the thing that I'm most worried about is if we were to put it and promote it people would be like, oh my gosh, they changed their sound. Like, what are they now? And I don't want that, you know, like,
Yeah.
how do I navigate that?
I don't think that'd happen. But just look in the comments, I would also want that too. I'm already intrigued. Definitely would want something like that. I think obviously if you don't pack it like you said, if you don't promote it and package it as a new release, an album, more of like you said, more like a Convictions experience, or
Yeah.
just or a soundscape, naming it something like that. But yeah, Percy is just a huge music geek, especially for, I would absolutely love that. And
Yeah,
I think the
there's
soundscapes that you guys do make, it would be it'd be great. Like if you start work in the morning, just play in the background, your productivity would probably go up by 50%.
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of that. Like I have tons, like I have records in my like collection where they're just instrumental, you know, artists, and like I just love to have that in the background, but it creates a mood, you know, and I mean, it's like a soundtrack to a movie, you know.
Yeah, I would absolutely. So here's the perfect little thing to do. What we'll do now is play Everything I Never Told You, everyone. Let's get opinions if you want to see stuff like this expanded on. Yeah, another 100% back that. Okay, here's Everything I Never Told You. First note, I'm in. Even especially after what you said, I mean, I know it's only a small demographic that's in the stream of Convictions fans, but very positive towards that. Got a great comment saying, I've been listening to this album on repeat all week, and this piece right here is such a great way to find a break after listening to all the emotion that comes before it. And literally everybody is in unison repeating that. Yeah, that was mesmerizing. That was beautiful. Yeah, it's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of intent behind it. That's like fun fact. That's the first time we've ever had a real violin in any of our music. That was exciting. But the title is a book. Everything I Never Told You. I haven't read it, and I don't really plan on reading it, but just because I like my interpretation of it, I don't want to ruin that. But
yeah,
the idea of that, like if some of these songs were about, you know, somebody that like maybe didn't survive, or they thought of not, you know, like not making it. And one thing that I always worry about, like if something sudden were to happen to me, God forbid, is that not being able to say like goodbye, you know, like that's something I think about a lot, and I think a lot of people do. And it's just kind of like, or maybe someone were to pass on and you didn't get to say something. So it's like that left unsaid mindset to reflect on, I think is therapeutic in a way. And I think they delivered a really great soundscape for that. To me, like I think I'm like trudging through the snow or something, or like it kind of builds this.
I can feel that, I can see that, and I love that. Again, yeah, I think when everyone listens to like a piece like that, they all get their own interpretation. But with just a little bit you've said there, I completely get why you've done it. I think it's absolutely incredible. Let's go on to the last track and talk about Last Cell. What can you tell us about this? And obviously anything you want, lyrics,
Sure.
Studio story, anything.
Yeah, there's a lot to this one. Personally, this song is about a good friend of ours named Greg. Greg and Zach, our drummer, were in this band together before, growing up throughout Zach's high school years and stuff. They were jamming, and my local band were playing with his band. That's how we met. But Greg had he'd moved to, I think, Portland, and Zach went on with Convictions, but they kept in touch. And Zach had found out that Greg had been going through testicular cancer, and he was struggling and going through a lot. And Zach and him kind of reconnected through that, I think. And we wrote it from Greg's perspective on the idea, I guess, of possibly passing too early and not seeing his daughter grow up. And Zach and Greg got together for this one, and they discussed a lot of his feelings and ideas, and him and Greg kind of worked this one out. But yeah, this was a lot of fun for us. We got to try new things in the studio. The way we wrote this song is not how we would typically write a song, with the song almost being like two different parts. There's like a chorus, but then it kind of everything just kind of gets elevated at the end and almost becomes like anthemic. And there's a medley where Dan and I go back and forth. I don't think we've ever done that before. And yeah, it was a lot of fun writing. Lyrically, I don't know if fun's the right word, but it was quite a challenge, and it was a good experience. I think I got to try some stuff, and there's an Easter egg in there. I really wanted the word "run into the shadows" to be in there somewhere, and it's literally the last word on the record, our last phrase, I guess, and that's the name of the band that Zach and Greg were in. They were called Run into the Shadows.
Wow, I love that.
Fun tidbit too. I auditioned for that band and I didn't get the part.
Oh, there's another Easter egg. Okay, here's the absolutely beautiful, incredible Last Cell. Again, any last questions for Mike before we wrap up the album and the stream? Put them in the chat. Last Cell.
To my daughter, I'll leave me.